Today's video, I'm going to be talking about the two banks that recognize authorized user trade lines the most when applying for a credit card when it's just an authorized user trade line on your credit report.
From the depths of death, we ascend, begin. Credit Crusader.
How's it going? That's right. The Seeker is working on the old Seeker mobile after a run-in with one of Dr. Denied's delinquinators. And since I got you here, I got some extra special knowledge that I'm going to drop today, because in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the two banks that recognize authorized user trade lines the most when applying for a credit card when it's just an authorized user trade line on your credit report. I know that's not something that a lot of people talk about or even know about. Well, since I haven't been gone for a while, I figured I'll go ahead and drop some awesome info. So let's get started. First thing I want to say and let you guys know is that TRADELINEVAULT is doing a sale right now, a fall sale, 10% off site-wide. In my opinion, they're the best when it comes to getting authorized user trade lines outside of having a friend or a relative add them, because they're easy to work with. You just text Jasmine, and she'll take care of you. Now, when it comes to the two banks that authorized user trade lines are recognized by the most, the first one I'd like to talk about is Citibank. Citibank, for some reason, when you apply, they look at authorized user trade lines a lot more heavy than, like, let's just say Bank of America. Bank of America, I mean, forget it. They're nuts. I mean, I really don't like Bank of America, but to each their own. But Bank of America does not recognize authorized user trade lines. I don't think at all. Citibank does. Citibank is a major bank, and if you are able to get a Citibank credit card, that will now open the door in a lot of ways. The first way is going to be that it's going to help you get into public records better, because they're going to blast your information. Even if you apply for a Citibank credit card and don't get approved, it's still going to help you get into public records, just so you know. Two, if your authorized user trade line that you have on your credit report has a high limit, chances are Citibank is going to give you an equally high limit too. Citibank is known for giving generous limits right out the gate. Like, I'm talking $9,000. We all know about the Citibank American Airlines credit card. I've made a video about it. Needless to say, your limit that you get on that card is going to be heavily dependent on two things. One, it's going to be the amount of limit that your authorized user trade line account has, and the other one is going to be your stated income. Those are the two major things that are going to dictate the limit that you get from them. They're an awesome card to have. You can get the secured card. That's also a good way to go if you want to do things slow and slow roll it. I actually prefer that way because it's easier, it's more solid. But if you really want to go and roll the dice and try to go for the big card up front, Citibank. That's the first bank. The second bank that I'd like to talk about when it comes to recognizing authorized user trade lines is Synchrony. Synchrony Bank is like, they will give out huge limits with just having an authorized user trade line account on it. Synchrony Bank, they do cards like Care Credit. They do a lot of store cards, that kind of stuff. Synchrony is probably the easiest card to get. It's easier to get than Citibank, but with Synchrony, chances are you're going to be getting a store card. It's not some card that you can use everywhere. It's going to be dependent on what store you get and that kind of thing. But again, they're a great primary to have if you're able to get approved for it, and they give out big limits, and they look at authorized user trade lines just by themselves. I've seen people get approved for a Synchrony card with just authorized user trade lines in the $4,000 and $5,000 range, and that's phenomenal for not having anything else on your credit report, just authorized user trade lines. I mean, that is really good. Now, I know some of you guys are probably saying to yourselves, all right, Crusader, that's great. What kind of authorized user trade line are we talking about? Like, how good of a card do I need to get? This is what I'm going to say. If you're going to try to get either a Citibank card or a Synchrony card with just authorized user trade lines, no primaries, you're going to need at least 2 years of age, and you're going to need at least $10,000 worth of limit. That is what I would recommend. I would not recommend trying to go for it otherwise, because the last thing you want to do is apply and get denied, or apply and get some small limit. Well, actually, getting a small limit wouldn't be that bad because you'd still have the primary. It's like a lot of these people, it frustrates me because they're all looking for ways to buy primaries and all this kind of stuff. It's like I get my email is full with people saying, "Hey, Crusader, where do I go to get primaries? Where do I go to get primaries?" It's like you apply for them. I mean, duh. Like once you apply for a card and you get approved, that's a primary. Yeah, it's going to be slower than getting some backdated primary, but it's going to be a hell of a lot easier. I like the path of least resistance. I like to go the route which I know I'm going to win, or my chances of winning are a lot higher than going and just rolling the dice everywhere, wasting money, hoping for some shit that is a very small chance of actually happening. And that's another thing I want to talk about right now. And that's looking at social media and looking at the YouTube, TikTok, all those platforms. There's a lot of people out there that are telling a lot of stuff out there, trying to get people to get views, and trying to get people all excited about some shit that's like more than likely something that's possible to happen, but not probable. The difference is if something's possible, that means it's like, yeah, there's a chance, but there's a slim chance. And probable means that it probably will happen. Getting approved for a Citibank card or a Synchrony card with just AUs, that is probable. That's not just like a little small possibility. There's a good likelihood, enough to take a chance to try to do it. Now, if you are not trying to risk getting a hard inquiry, then what I would recommend is going and trying to just go get that Citibank secured card. I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. The Citibank secured card is the keys to credit. It unlocks credit. I mean, it really does, because once you have that primary, even though it's a secured card, you now have a primary that's aging that will, after a while, turns unsecured, and it's with a major bank. Now Bank of America, when they see Citibank on there, then they're going to say, oh, okay, let's look at them. They're not going to, Bank of America, when you apply and you just got AUs on there, they're like, okay, yeah, whatever, we're not stupid. But if you've got a Citibank on there, then they're like, all right, let's talk. So that's what I'm talking about. It's you got to use the AUs to get the cards that are easy to get with the AUs. Once you have those cards that are easy to get with the AUs, those are primaries. Now you can go and start building and start going after the other stuff because you have those primaries. The AUs get your ass in the door, and they also are able to get you bigger limits faster. They're great at doing that. Also, authorized user trade lines are great for in conjunction with primaries. Then they work the best. They really, in my opinion, I've seen it. If you got it mixed, you want to mix it up a little bit. Once you have that, then you're going to be golden. Another thing that a lot of people don't know when it comes to AUs is that when you add someone as an AU, that helps with public records. Public records is one of the biggest things that people miss and they skimp out on, and they're like, "Well, why isn't my shit working? I got 750 credit, and I'm not getting approved, or I'm getting kickbacks, or they want documents." It's because you're not in public records. Now, I have a workshop that I made years ago, but guess what? The information still works. It's still relevant today. If you want to go ahead and check that out, it's at thecrusadercave.com. I'll go ahead and leave a link in the description. Go ahead and check out my workshops. All the information there, it still works. It's still relevant, because the stuff I teach and the stuff I show is not something that's just a flavor of the week thing. This is like the slow and steady way to actually work, and it works most of the time. That's the difference between my stuff and maybe the other outfits out there. So just thought I'd hit you guys with that sweet knowledge. Now, it looks like the Seeker is almost done fixing the car, so I'm going to get going. But as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Crusader out.